What's up YouTube, this is going to be a guide on how to get the most FPS out of Black Ops 6, the new release title of Call of Duty. As well as making your game look extremely colorful, I will show these tricks for console players as well as for PC players. But first, let's do the part where the console players can benefit from this video as well. First thing you want to do is head over to your settings tab and head over to interface. On interface, you want to go over to readability. Now what this tab has, it has a little tab called color customization tab. You click on it, this will basically make your game look insanely good. When I mean insanely good, I mean in a colorful way. If you want your game to be popping in colors as well as more colorful, instead of having those dull colors in the game, you can have more popping colors now in the game. And the easiest way to do this is you head over to the color filter settings and you set this color filter to number 2. This basically gives you that nice blue and green look of the game. And then you want to head over and set the color filter target to both. This will change your interface as well as how the world environment looks like. Depending on how you want the world color intensity to be, that's on you. I like to play it on 100 and it looks like this. Insanely beautiful and way more colorful. However, for the console players who still stayed on, there might be secret little tips inside of this video showing that you can benefit too, like a PC player. Now that we have the color settings out of the way, let's head over to the graphics tab. First thing you want to do on the display tab, you want to set your display mode to full screen exclusive mode. Now what this actually does is, it's not going to give you a lot more FPS, but it will give you less input delay from whatever device you are using, whether it's controller or keyboard and mouse. You're going to feel the game is way more responsive on this settings. Make sure that your screen refresh rate is exactly set to what your actual screen refresh rate is. So if you have a 144Hz monitor or 260Hz monitor, you set it to that. Otherwise your game is not going to feel as it's supposed to feel. I mean, you're getting all of these FPS to get these refresh rates or feel it in a better gameplay. Then you can head over to NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency. So this helps with your PC system latency between your CPU and your GPU, making sure that they can communicate better to each other, therefore giving you lower latency in the game, meaning your frames gets delivered to your screen way quicker. So what you want to do is you want to set this to either on or on plus boost. So this is completely dependent on if you are CPU bound or GPU bound. If you are GPU bound, you want to set it on plus boost. If you are CPU bound, it means you set it on. What I mean CPU bound, if your GPU is struggling to keep up with your CPU or your CPU struggling to keep up with your GPU, that's basically how you pick one of these options. As an example, the quickest way to do that is go to your task manager and check which one while you play the game, or do a benchmark and check which one is running on a higher load than the other, and then that's how you know which one to pick in this scenario. Echo mode presets, you can set this to custom. V-Syncs you always want to turn off. The custom frame rate you can turn this to depending on you, but you don't need to put it more than your screen's refresh rate. Otherwise you're just letting your machine run way harder than what it's supposed to, because you're only going to see what your screen refresh rate is going to show you. So as an example, I have a 144 screen. I should set it to 144 as an example, or 145, but I like to just run it on 300. So that's completely on you if you want your PC to run faster or not. If you want to draw out the most FPS in the game, because they do say more frames wins games. And then all of these other stuff is basically not relevant, but reduce quality when inactive, you can set this to 10 minutes or turn it off. What this basically does is, if you are standing still on a long spot, it will, in all the areas where you're not looking, it will decrease the quality on those things, meaning your PC is not gonna try and render frames it's not supposed to. Okay, so let's head over to the quality tab. On the quality tab, you don't want to touch your render resolution, but if you're having FPS issues and your game can't keep up, I recommend at least pulling this down to about 90, which means the game kind of still looks good and you basically get more FPS. But if you can run on 100, stay on 100, it's way better. Dynamic resolution, you leave this on off. Upscaling and sharpening, if you have a good CPU, you can set it on DLSS. This will give you an insane amount of FPS. You just have to make sure you pick a mode which your PC can handle. So quality means this is the best way the game will look. Performance means you get way more FPS, but your game is going to look a little bit dodgy. With dodgy I mean a little bit blurry, but you get way more FPS increase. However, DLSS does give you a tiny bit of a performance on a performance hit, but a delay in the response time in the game. So just keep that in mind when using DLSS. The thing most of the people likes using is fidelity cost. What fidelity cost does is it actually brings up the sharpness of the game up, meaning you can see every detail way more clearer. However, it does have an impact on your FPS. So if you want more FPS, you want to turn it off. But if you do want your game to look more clearer, you can turn it on. So one thing that I like to do with these kind of videos I want to make sure that you guys have the best performance while having good visuals in the game. And this is basically the way to set it. And this is how I've set all my Call of Duties with previous videos. You will see that I have exactly the same settings because it actually freaking works. I like to now on this game turn it off because I felt like the input delay becomes way higher than what the other Call of Duties does, so I prefer having this off. So now you want to put the VRAM scale target. So how this actually works, if your game is having stuttering issues, what you want to do is you want to set this VRAM scale target a little bit more down. So you can bring it down to, as an example, about 70% or 60%. And it should actually be good and take away the stuttering your game has. So after doing this, is restart your game and you should see less stuttering. But if it's still stuttering, turn all your graphic settings down. Try and see one by one, turning every setting up and see what is causing those stutters. I like to run on 90. Variable rate shading, turn this on. I don't quite understand what it does, but all I know is when I put this setting on, I get a huge amount of FPS increase. The render texture resolution normal, texture field anisotropic high, depth of field off, detail quality low, particle resolution low. Basically, I'm just turning everything off at this point because the only thing that matters is these two textures that makes the game look good. Everything else has a huge impact on how your game will feel and basically look. Bullet impacts, I put this on because I want to see how the bullet patterns is on the walls. Persistent effects off, shader quality definitely off. This will eat your whole machine live. So if you're having issues with lag in the game, there is one simple fix to it. So Call of Duty is actually downloading pictures from the internet or higher resolution pictures from the internet to put it on your game, meaning you are probably lagging your butt off if you don't have a good internet. So what you want to do is you change on-demand texture streaming to minimal, meaning you don't want it to flip and start downloading stuff. Allocate texture care size, you want to put this on the smallest, and download you can put it on and make sure it's also on the smallest, or just turn it off if it doesn't matter to you. Low texture streaming quality, you turn this on off because this also will have an impact. So let's head over to the shadows and light category. On the shadows and light, you basically from here on forward, we're just turning everything off besides the shadow quality. So the shadow quality, I want some of the stuff to not look too blocky, so I'm trying to put it on a space where it looks kind of okay. It means so the game still looks kind of beautiful for us and we can kind of still handle it. So what you want to do here, shadow quality normal, everything below this just turn it off or on the lowest setting. Now let's head over to the view tab. On the view tab, for the console players who are still here, if you want to know how all of these pros look like they have absolutely no recoil on Call of Duty Black Ops, well, it's quite easy. On the view tab in the graphic settings, you will find that there's actually a thing that gives you lower camera movement, meaning you actually have less visual recoil. So just head over here to camera and turn this first camera movement to least, meaning you'll get lower actual recoil. I hope this tip helps you out. Comment down below and let me know. Alright, so let's go up over to the motion reduction preset. You want to set this off. Field of view, this is completely dependent on you. If you want to see more on your screen, you want to set this to 120, but most pros place between 110 to 115. World motion blur and weapon blur, motion blur, you turn this off, it's gonna give you nausea and sickness. After doing all of this, run the benchmark tool and actually see how good your game is performing now. After changing all of these settings, head over back to the display tab and restart your shaders. Once you do this, restart your whole game. It will re-download the shaders. Once you do this change, it basically re-downloads the shaders to the new settings that you've set, meaning this is how your game gonna run. Then run the benchmark tool and see your performance increase. So there's one more secret setting that I'm gonna show you. And then if you guys want more tips like this, comment down below if you made it this far in the video, subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell if you want more tips like this. But there is one more secret setting I'm gonna give you guys. The rest I will give in a more advanced video. Once I do a little bit more testing in the next video, I'm going to give you way more of an advanced settings where we dive a little bit deeper into the game's config file. But let's do this one more change in the config file which can benefit your game by a lot. Okay, what you want to do is you want to open your file explorer. Once you're in your file explorer, head over to documents, head over to Call of Duty, head over to players, then click on your s.1.0.cod24. You can right click on this and open with Notepad. Once you open it, there's one setting I want you guys to be aware of, and this is called the render worker count. So what in the render worker count, what you want to do is, depending on your CPU, you need to set this or play with this a little bit, Because I know on Intel machines it works a little bit different. I think the sweet spot for Intel is between 6 and 8. When I say 6 to 8, I mean the value that's in here. Let me just zoom in a bit. The value that is in here. Just play around, go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and see where you get the most FPS. But if you are a Ryzen user or AMD, you can go over to your task manager, or even if you are Intel, go over to your task manager, click on performance and check on your CPU how many cores you have. So if you are a Ryzen user, you just put the same value as what your cores is, meaning I have a 6 core, I'm going to put in 6 core. You can then click on file and then click save and then exit the file. Now once you relaunch your game, you will see a big improvement on FPS. If you did not see a big improvement on changing that setting on the file, all you got to do is just tweak it every time, go up with 1 until you see it goes better, and then pick that core count on basically the render work account. I hope this video was informative for you. If you did get a FPS increase, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below how much more frames did you get. Did you get 10 more, 20 more, 50 more? Let me know in the comment section. See you guys on the next guide.